Let's review the answers to quiz review number 2. We start with problem 1, which informs us to construct the stem and leaf plot. We always start with the smallest number, 29. We split that number into two pieces. The last digit is the leaf. The first digit is the stem. The highest number is 118. Splitting that number into two parts, the stem is 11, the leaf is 8. We list all the stems from the smallest to largest number, so 2 to 11. And then for each stem, for stem 2, there's only one number, 29. But for stem 3, we list all the numbers that have stem 3, and we list the leaves on the opposite side in ascending order from lowest to highest without commas. And then just repeat that process for all the other stems. And we should get this as our result. So here is the answer, number 1. And then from there you can look for patterns depending on what you're searching for. In this case, you could see that the modal class would be stem 3 because it has the most numbers in that group. Next, let's go on to number 2, which is asking for us to compute or devise a pie graph. What's unique about this problem is that instead of giving us the frequencies, we're given percentages. Well, we typically have to find the degrees of each section that's representing our category on the pie graph. This can easily be accomplished. We just multiply each percent by 360 degrees, and this will determine the degrees of each section. So for example, let's take oxygen. 65% of the human body biomass is composed of oxygen. We multiply 0.65 times 360, and that's going to give us 234. So degrees is 234, and then we can repeat that process for all the other percentages. And then we construct the pie graph, right? Each section has a specific angle. We measure it off and draw and label each section. In this case, I used Microsoft Excel to construct the pie graph for this specific problem. Okay, moving on, let's take a look at number 3. We are building a Pareto chart for a survey that was conducted asking people to list their favorite fast food spots that they like to eat at. Step 1 is we want to rearrange the data from highest to lowest frequencies. So I went ahead and restructured the chart to list from highest to lowest frequencies. Then we construct a Pareto chart. We put the categories on the x-axis, frequencies on the y-axis. For each category, we draw a bar with the height equal to the frequency, and then a pattern should emerge. We can see that the two favorite fast food restaurants that people preferred, Chick-fil-A and In-N-Out. Not surprising. Number 4, we're calculating the 4 measures of central tendency. We're given a set of data. To compute the mean, we find the sum of all the data values, 552, divided by the number of data values, 14, 39.4 is the answer. For the median, we have to put the data values in numerical order. And then since we have an even number of data values, we pick the two middle values, 32 and 43, and find the midpoint of those values. So we add 32 and 43 to get 75, divided by 2 to get 37.5. The mode is the data value with the highest frequency, or think of it as the data value that repeats the most. So for this data set, it's 20. 20 has a frequency of 3. And finally, the mid-range. The mid-range is the lowest value, 11, plus the highest value, 90, divided by 2. So it's 101 over 2, which is 50.5. For number 5, we're given group data, and we have to find the mean for the group data and the modal class. To find the mean, we had two columns. We had the midpoint column and the frequency times midpoint column. So to find the midpoints, we just add the lower limit plus the upper limit. In this first case, it's 44, and then divide by 2 to get 22. And then we could repeat that pattern, add 45 and 89, divided by 2 to get 67. But then we notice that the class width is 45. So each class is separated by 45. This means that each midpoint is separated by 45 as well. So to rapidly compute all the values in this column, we simply add 45 continuously until we fill up this table or this column here. Next, to find f times xm, we multiply each frequency times midpoint. We fill in this column. Next, we find the sum of the frequencies, that is n, so n is 52. And then we find the sum of the last column, 5,149. Now we're ready to compute the mean for the group data. It's the sum of the last column divided by n. So it's 5,149 divided by 52. And if we round to the tenths, it's going to round to 99. So the mean is 99. And then the modal class, that's the class with the highest frequency. Well, the highest frequency is 18, so the modal class is 0 to 44. Finally, we have to compute the weighted mean. We're looking for the weighted mean of the percentage. Those are the x values. The people surveyed would be the weights. So we multiply each x value with each weight. In this scenario, I convert 44% to a decimal. So let me show you on the calculator. We take 0.44 times 120, and that's going to give us 52.8. That's our product, and you just repeat that process for all the other pairs of values. And then next we find the sum of the weights, 363, the sum of the products, 116.19, and the weighted mean is computed by dividing the sum of the products by the sum of the weights. We end up with 0.32, which converts to 32%. Thanks for watching the video.